Welcome to the flight lulls. Big news dropped this Thursday. The FAA and the U.S. Department of Transportation officially appointed Peraton as the prime integrator for building a completely brand new air traffic control system. Today, I'm going to share my perspective on this news and what it might mean to you. Let's get to it. By integrator, they mean a single contractor that will coordinate all pieces: telecom, radar, automation, facility builds, testing, and rollout. Basically managing the whole project end to end, rather than having the FAA try to micromanage dozens of separate vendors. They say this first-of-its-kind contract will bring safety, efficiency, and innovation, and they want the bulk of the system in place by 2028. Just 3 years away. So today, let's talk about what they're promising and why I think that urgency is overblown, some of the ideas are misguided, and the method of implementation might do more harm than good. With a prime integrator of Peraton, the government says they'll have unified oversight, a single entity responsible for all of the deployment of the new air traffic control system nationwide. It's meant to speed up a rollout and avoid the decades-long delays of prior patchwork upgrades. On paper, it sounds like a clean slate, high-tech upgrade the national airspace has needed for decades. But here's the thing. When an overhaul is sold with dramatic urgency of "we must act now, 3 years or bust," in a single vendor contract, that's often a red flag that politics and optics matter more than actual operational realism. When you combine massive scope with very aggressive timeline and a huge single integrator with existing systems still running 24/7, it's not just bold, it's reckless. I'm someone who has spent time inside this system long enough to see how fragile certain balances are, so I'm not buying this hype. Let's walk through each of their main arguments and show why some are bad reasons, some are mischaracterized, and some are downright dangerous when used to justify a clean slate rebuild. Yes, there is old stuff in the system. Some telecom lines are decades old, some hardware is outdated. That's real. At the same time, that doesn't mean you need to rip everything out and start over. In fact, many aging infrastructure concerns are already being addressed. For example, the fiber optic satellite wireless upgrades replacing old copper infrastructure. That work is ongoing under the current system. And if radar or legacy surveillance is truly obsolete, then why is the FAA planning to replace radar with new radar as part of this overhaul? The plan calls for hundreds of new radars. We already have ATC, which provides modern, precise aircraft tracking. If the FAA truly believed radar was antiquated, it could lean harder on ATC and phase out radar. But their choice to stick with radar, even with the redesign, tells a different story. They're not modernizing to leap ahead, they're modernizing so they can keep running legacy-style control under the guise of a new system. That's not progress. One of the loudest emergency narratives used to justify the new system are recent high-visibility outages, such as the NOTAM outage from a couple of years ago. It grounded and delayed a lot of flights, but that wasn't caused by ERAM or STARS, which are the systems that run centers and TRACONs. NOTAMs are run on their own completely independent system. Yet, the administration acts as if that outage proves the entire NAS is broken, when that's clearly not the case. If you want to fix a NOTAM outage, let's fix NOTAMs. Other problems, like the recent TRACON consolidation issues or poorly handled facility moves, weren't caused by old hardware. They were caused by poor planning, mismanagement, and poor execution. If you haven't seen them already, take a look at my previous videos about the Newark TRACON relocation to Philadelphia. I'll put a link in the description. That's not a reason to rewrite everything from scratch. That's a reason to improve accountability and project planning. Yes, the airspace is changing. Drones, urban air mobility, space launches, new kinds of aircraft. That's a fair reason to plan for flexibility. But here's the reality. The current automation frameworks of ERAM and STARS already have integration points and upgrade paths. There's nothing inherently incompatible about new airspace users in the existing architecture. With proper upgrades, procedures, and data links, we can do that. A clean sheet rebuild isn't needed just to future-proof. It's overkill, and it creates massive risk for no clear gain. The administration claims the new system will reduce flight delays. But most delays today are not caused by outdated air traffic tech. They stem from runway capacity constraints. Major airports are simply overtaxed. You can't land or take off more airplanes with the existing runways, no matter how advanced your air traffic system is. Delays are from weather. Thunderstorms, wind, low visibility, snow, none of which a new air traffic control system architecture is going to fix. And then we have staffing levels, which are already in a crisis and will actually get worse during a nationwide system overhaul. Because you bring in a brand new system, existing controllers and trainees must stop or slow down operations for training, transitioning, certification, and testing of the new system. That means less capacity, fewer flights, more backlog, which is exactly the opposite of delay reduction. Using delay reduction as a selling point for a clean slate rebuild is extremely misleading. There is one element that I can get behind, which is consolidation of redundant facilities and streamlining operations and reducing overhead. This would save money in the long run, but that kind of consolidation done responsively happens over decades, not 3 years. The brand new air traffic control system plan tries to cram consolidation, replacement, and modernization into a 3-year blitz. That's not realistic. If consolidation is the goal, that's fine, but do it slowly, carefully, and deliberately, not in a sprint driven by political calendars and headline deadlines. So yes, some aspects of the brand new air traffic control system concept are reasonable. Updating telecom, bringing fiber wiring, replace long-time sustainable infrastructure, and rationalizing redundancy. But the way they're doing it, the urgency, the clean sheet mentality, the 3-year deadline, the single integrator contact, it feels dramatic, rushed, and like it's more about optics than safety. A nationwide air traffic control overhaul is something that should be done with extreme caution over many years, incrementally, ensuring every update is thoroughly tested, every controller is properly trained, not compressed into a political legacy project. What do you think? Am I being overly negative about upgrading the national airspace system? Or are you equally cautious about this plan? Tell me in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss my next episode. Remember, don't just fly, climb to the flight levels. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to see my video about air traffic control vectoring techniques. You're going to love it.